Hello, my name is Rachel Gallagher, and I'm a product manager supporting MetaSpark based in London. We cannot wait to spend the next 20 minutes with you to introduce to you a new suite of tools and capabilities for mobile effects. Our platform for building the augmented layer of the metaverse. Today, we're actually going to walk you through two major topics. First, through a variety of animation capabilities that will allow you to create more realistic and visually compelling mobile effects. Second, we'll showcase to you a new set of coding and profiling tools that will help you accelerate your creation and iteration, all while improving the performance of your projects. Jumping into the first topic, we'll step you through new capabilities that will enable you to unlock new levels of realism within your projects. First off, skeletal animation blending. So we know that choppy or abrupt transitions within a project can detract from the end user's experience. And we also know that historically, working with animations in MetaSpark Studio was a highly manual and complex process. So today, we're now giving you the power to mix and blend up to 8 animation clips before applying them to a 3D object. Now let's see how this is actually achieved with this cute bird project. Using 2 new patches, the animation blend and animation blend input, you can define, overlap, combine animation clips to generate completely customized movement without ever having to exit Studio or export a project. Here we have our bird animation in its default or idle state. By using both new patches, we can adjust how the movement is combined with a second animation clip, dance, jump, or fly. Currently, you'll see, we have the weight of our idle animation set to 1 and our secondary animation set to 10. They're automatically being normalized, meaning that they're automatically adjusted to total 1. This will avoid any deformation or unexpected behavior in your rig. Now, normalizing weights is a feature that can be toggled on or off, allowing you to quickly and easily achieve an incredibly precise and specific final product. And as you can probably guess, this feature becomes especially useful when you're testing and iterating on projects with many blended clips. Now, in addition to making the animations in your projects smoother, animation blending allows you to reuse and recombine clips rather than having to import duplicates within a single project. Now, this will help you conserve storage and allow you to reconfigure animations in various combinations to achieve a diverse range of motion for our bird. Now, really what this is the underlying technology for all advanced animation tooling, and the team is excited to bring it to MetaSpark Studio. So now that we've highlighted the foundational functionality using patches, we're going to demonstrate how to achieve the same final effect via a new intuitive studio interface, the timeline editor. This will be a much easier way of working with animation clips and allow you to blend them together by just dragging and dropping. The timeline editor improves the speed of iteration by having everything on a single timeline. This makes it much faster and intuitive to visualize on a global time reference scale. Now let's take a look at this project. When you open the timeline editor interface, you'll see all the individual animation clips. From here, you can add a new scene object, add additional clips, trim them, sequence them, delete them, add keyframes, all from this single interface. However, the true power of the timeline editor comes in its ability to work with traditional animations and keyframes on multiple scene objects all in tandem. We can now take 2 completely separate 3D objects and using keyframes generate a seamless, unified animation. We can see this in action here. Our first 3D object, the player, is a simple skeleton mesh. It's blended with a receive animation, dribble, kicking, and then idle. The ball, our second object, is a simple sphere with a material attached to it. The ball here doesn't actually react to the player. Rather, we've set keyframes to map the trajectory of the ball directly to the skeleton, making it appear to interact and react to the dribbling and kicking. So once you have your animation configured exactly as you want it, you'll be able to preview it in Studio, as you can see, and then there's just one more step before it's ready to be published into an effect. So as soon as you create a timeline within a project, you'll notice that there's automatically a custom patch created with all the necessary connections you'll need. In this case, you'll just need a counter. We're going to use a loop here in order to customize your animation, and then you can export it as an effect. And there you go. Your entire timeline is captured in this simple scene graph. The next topic we're going to cover stays consistent with the theme of making things easier for you. And and it's coming out a little bit later this year. So other ways you can achieve realism in your projects is through this highly requested feature, shadows. Casting a shadow to an object and from an object are both great ways to define form and add definition to your creations, giving them ultimately a more polished look. Shadows and other tools can be complicated to work with, but we've made it simple to add them to your scenes and get great results right out of the box. Let's take a look at this lizard project. Adding shadows here is as simple as 3 steps. First, selecting our main directional light and turning on the new shadows checkbox. 2, enable casting and receiving from your object, the lizard. And 3, enable receiving from your surface, the terrain she's standing on. And there you go. And there you go. Instant shadows, simple as that. Now that looks good, but let's go ahead and adjust the placement to be a little bit more accurate. We can fine-tune the appearance by expanding the property panel and adjusting the frustum properties, making sure that our lizard mesh is fully contained within the new frustum visualizer widget within the scene window. We can also turn down the bias a bit to make sure that the shadow is attached completely to the surface. Now let's compare our lizard pre- and post-shadows. You can see that the addition of shadows really brings out the shape of the lizard and accentuates details in her texture. Now imagine if this animation could not only look amazing, but could also engage with her environment and even the end user. To show you how to take this lizard to the next level and really bring her to life, I'd like to introduce to you Francesco Grani, another PM on the Spark team.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Let's continue introducing another feature that brings more realism into your creations. We all recognize the unique frustrations of animating a 3D character. Conventionally, there are 2 primary ways to animate a character. The first one is to create keyframe animations using specialized 3D software or the new timeline editor that Rachel just showed us in Spark Studio. Second way is to use motion capture, on a human actor. Today, we're introducing in Spark a third way, using procedural animation. We can see how that works with Lizzie, our 4-legged 3D character. Lizzie's body motion is entirely animated procedurally, using scripting, without any motion capture data or any complex hard-coded keyframe animation. So let's see, for example, how Lizzie can walk from A to B in a virtual environment following user input. You can see Lizzie walks towards the next point, walking on different terrains, moving her legs and body in a realistic way without being driven by keyframe animation. Yeah. Bonus points, she's super cute, by the way. That's a great job, Lizzie. With procedural animation, you can obtain a broader range of realistic, dynamic, and unique movements. Let's have more fun and see a few dance moves. There you go. Again, Lizzie's movements are harmonious and complex, and this is because procedural animation can work with techniques like inverse kinematics, physics simulation, and noise function to achieve even more realistic movements. We can also align a 3D character to user input, or make Lizzie follow another object in the scene, like in this case. So, did we want a faster way to create more realistic animations, or a more performant animation technique? We opted for both here. So this approach accelerates creating animations, for example, by ensuring reusability. You can, in fact, use the same procedural animation on different rigs of the same archetype. And at the same time, just by using procedural animation, you will make your projects more performant by saving a lot of memory. You will find the script for procedural animation in the AR library in Metaspark Studio, and also as new super cute templates. Now, procedural animation will require, of course, some scripting skills to be used. And that brings us to the next topic. For a significant portion of our diverse community of creators, the access to visual programming is essential for moving fast and to use an intuitive interface. However, writing code in Metaspark can empower you to develop more advanced, high-performing, and complex projects. And the Metaspark community has expressed a need for more coding support. So we are thrilled to release new coding tools for Metaspark. This includes a new and more powerful Metaspark extension for Visual Studio Code and a brand new command line interface, the Spark CLI. The Metaspark command line can be accessed via the terminal or directly in the Metaspark extension. And with the extension, you can now do a few more things. You can, 1, manage multiple projects at the same time. 2, edit code with syntax highlighting and inline suggestions. 3, you can execute commands using UI shortcuts. And 4, you can also debug and test your project. And we will get there later. And with the Metaspark CLI, you can streamline operations. You can run headless operations and commands to create projects, import assets, also in batches, export and run AR effects, and more. For example, you can now also publish an effect to the AR Hub directly from the CLI. Yes. We have also streamlined the process of script editing itself. Finally, now, while you're working on a project in Studio, you can switch to script editing with just one single click. Now, these tools, they help you to create with code. But if you're like me, you also want tools that help you to prevent and resolve coding roadblocks. And over the past months, the team has worked to start supporting automated testing. Yes, that is to ensure the functional accuracy and stability of your code. Our first step in that direction is to enable unit testing in Metaspark. Unit tests are the most fundamental layer of testing. And for Metaspark, they will be based on the popular framework Jest. Integrating Jest means that JavaScript and TypeScript creators can easily craft unit tests for Spark without any additional learning. And to make it even simpler, we have also introduced the Metaspark command CodeGen, which creates test projects for you. This command will fully configure the test environment for your project so that you just have to run Spark utest to run your test script. And to stay on stability, we are also introducing the ability to debug Spark scripts through the Metaspark extension. Let's see how that works. To enter the debug mode, of course, first just open a script in your project and then mirror your effect using the new Metaspark extension. After mirroring, you will be able to enter debug mode. And there, you can insert breakpoints in your code, you can inspect the status of variable, step through your code line by line, and you can also see console logs. You know, these are fundamental tools to address bugs, resolve code roadblocks, and in the end, to unblock your creativity. And there is also more to debugging. You also want to make sure that your effects are running smoothly for the user. And that sometimes can be a challenge. This is why we are introducing profiling in Metaspark Studio. Let's have a look at it. The Metaspark Profiler will allow you to see in real time top-level performance metrics like frame rate, as well as more granular ones, like the number of textures and materials you're using. Let's dive into an example to see it in action. In this version of the fireworks template, we will be able to see that as the firework ignites, the frame rate will drop significantly. There you go. At the same time, the draw code jumps up. What this means is that the high draw count may be the cause of the performance issue. So we suspect that the high draw count may be coming from the high number of particles that we are using during the ignition phase. We might have overdone it a bit. Let's try reducing the particle count using the patch graph and see if that improves the performance on the frame rate side. There you go. Let's hit refresh and see what happens. Voila. By reducing the number of particles, we were able to reduce the number of draw calls, which in turn led to a significant improvement on the frame rate. What this means in the end is that the effect will run smoothly for the user. You can leverage the profiler to help you debug and optimize your effect so that you can reach a wider range of users and devices. And now that you have all the tools available to optimize your projects and shorten development time, there's just one more thing I want to leave you with today. It is a brand new suite of templates, showcasing the functionalities that we have highlighted here. There's much more than what you see here, actually. They also show you new ways to use the capabilities and features that you already know. They go from interactive games to effects that let you magically transform your environment. These templates will reduce barriers to creation and jumpstart your creativity. Our goal here is to give you the tools you need to build better AR experiences on mobile. And to recap, we'll talk through two main things. One, a variety of new animation capabilities that will allow you to create more realistic and high-performing mobile effects. And two, a set of new tools, like the new Metaspark CLI, the new Metaspark extension, and the profiler that will unlock new ways to create and to debug and optimize your project. We encourage you to go to our learning website, where you can find everything you need to be successful with these tools. And of course, from Rachel and I and the Metaspark team, happy building.